He opens up the door. He walks down the street with black gloves on his hands and velvet to his feet.
Scarlet's Way has a brand new single out. It's called Ride On, and it's a tribute to the creative arts and the industry across the board. And Shane and Katie join us tonight to have a bit of a chat about it. Hey, congratulations on the new singles, guys. It sounds like this is a song that was pretty close to your heart.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. You know, being a musician my whole life pretty much. And I remember sort of sitting in career ed class when I was in year 9 or year 10, selecting what I wanted to do out of this book that looked like it was printed in 1965. Musician wasn't in there anywhere. And when I told the career ed teacher I wanted to be a musician, he sort of looked at me strangely and the class kind of laughed. And at that point, I'd already been gigging professionally for a year. So it's always been an interesting career choice. And just with the pandemic hitting and a lot of the industry getting shut down, it's kind of been an interesting time. We couldn't really think of a better time to write the song.
Do you think that it's better these days, going into career day, better for kids that it's more of an option to actually be a musician or in the performing arts of any type?
I'd like to say yes, but unfortunately not. I do teach guitars in schools and stuff, and I'm still constantly sort of having the conversation with parents where, you know, the kid has to get a real job. It's never an easy one to have, and I think, you know, the pandemic sort of did add some weight into that, and why it is kind of so fragile. But at the same time, so was being a pilot.
I mean, the funny thing is, it's just it's in your blood. So, I mean, that's what the song's about as well. You know, you can't really help it. That's what you want to be. So not always about the money.
It chooses
you, yeah.
One of the classic examples, of course, is Brian May. He always had an astrophysicist to fall back on, didn't he?
Well, that's it. You know, not a bad degree to have, to be a rock star and then just go work for NASA on the weekend, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's a few. You know, Sting was an English teacher and a few of guys that have sort of gone into it. And like I said, when it sort of grabs you, and Katie's right, it chooses you. And I think what makes you happy. And I think if the arts and music and acting and poetry and painting if that's what it is, and that's what it is.
So what's your advice to parents and kids when they're in that decision? You know, they're going, yeah, you know, we want to be a professional dancer, music industry, whatever it is. I want to paint for a living. What's the advice that you've got to child and to parents?
I'd honestly tell them that it's a really hard slog, and it's definitely a load of work, but the highs outweigh the lows. I think they're very high highs.
That's a great answer, and I think that as a parent, you probably have to tell your kid about the hard work and hope that they do have a career that they can sort of earn a living and pay the rent a few different ways. So as much as we're songwriters and we love performing, we do a ton of gigs over here to pay the bills. You know, everything we do is about being a musician, but there's gigs that you do just to put food on the table, and we're happy to do those too.
What has the last 12 months been like for Scarlet's Way?
It's been a bit up and down. You know, some days you are really inspired to write and do all those things, and then some other days you're like, oh, when are we actually going to be touring so we can play these songs?
We love travelling, we love touring, so I think not being able to get out of the state has been a bit of a drain on us. Like I said, we did turn a few of those days into creative times, managed to write sort of 4 or 5 songs, so we're working towards an album, so that should be good fun.
We spoke previously about the tribulations that it is in Western Australia, that most places on the East Coast can do a living within a certain amount, but you guys have got to travel a long way north as well.
For sure, yeah, and there's not a lot of population when you do get there, whether it's south or north. You know, we've got some pretty coastline, and, you know, down in Albany and Esperance is an amazing place, and I can't actually say I've been much further past Karratha or Carnarvon. I haven't actually been up as far as Broome, but it's pretty on both ends. There's not a lot of people there, so, you know, to be able to fund a gig to go up there is kind of difficult. So we find out most of our touring over on the East Coast, to be honest, and a lot of the gigs we do around here, we hover around Perth as a hub.
So what is in store for Scarlet's Way over the next 12 months?
At the moment, we are recording some new songs, hopefully have an album out soon. And we've got our accommodation booked for Tamworth, so we're really hoping that goes ahead. We'd love to get on a plane.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope that they can get themselves in check in around Sydney and Victoria and make sure that we are able to travel, but it'll be terrific from there. So when the new album looks like it's going to be out and about and new music, what's the sort of timeline for that?
It's very much set in jelly at this point. It's whenever we get some time, some inspiration to go down there and record. What have we got? 5 tracks done, and we're hoping to get about 8 or 9 on there. So we've started the 6th one. We've just got to go down and hit record in the studio and finish it off, I guess.
It's a long way here from the east coast of Australia across to where you guys are, but it's a small world these days and music keeps us in touch. Shane and Katie, they are Scarlet's Way. The new single's called Ride On, and I do commend you to have a listen to it and get on YouTube and have a look at the video clip. It's very inspiring as well. Here's Scarlet's Way and Ride On.
Oh,